In this driving lesson video, we're going to look at how to move off properly and safely on a hill. I'll touch on how to change gears and stop on an uphill as well. And don't forget to stay tuned until the very end, where I will give you some extra bonus tips on how to make your hill start extra efficient. And throughout this video, I'll be using the words bite or clutch bite a lot, because you have to feel a certain bite in order to move off on the hill properly. The bite is when you go into first gear, get some acceleration, then bring up the clutch and you will feel a little pull on the car. It's the car showing its desire to move off. So the bite is when the car is ready to move off, it wants to move off, and the only thing stopping it moving off is the handbrake. So let's look at hill starts now in a little more detail. When you're doing a hill start, you have to understand the difference between the first bite and the second bite. I'll show you now. So I'll go into first gear. I'll get a little bit of acceleration. Just about 15 or 16 is fine for a normal enough hill like this. Now the first bite is the first little lift on the car like this. Just there. So it's just the first connection where the clutch connects with the car, and it's a little lift. Now the second bite is only a little bit higher like this. So it rises a little bit more, and you can feel the engine noise going deeper, making a more of a groaning noise. That's the second bite. So I hold that. I'll just make sure I'm okay all around mirrors, blind spot. Hold the second bite, handbrake down, and keep the feet still for 5 seconds, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's it then. And then you'll be able to move off smoothly with the second bite. So I'm going to show you now the difference between the first bite and the second bite in terms of how it reacts to a hill start. So let's try with the first bite first. So I go into first gear, I build up a bit of acceleration, about 15 or 16 revs on the counter. Now I get the first bite, which is there, okay? Now if I let down the handbrake now, I'm just going to make sure it's safe first before I do anything. If I let down the handbrake, the car just rolls back a little bit and it's actually staying dead still basically. So it's neither rolling back nor rolling forward. So that's what the first bite can feel like. So it's rolling forward a little bit now. So I'm going to stop that there now. So handbrake and neutral. And now I'm going to show you what it's like with the second bite, because obviously the second bite is a lot stronger. It's more conducive to a proper hill start. So let's try the second bite now. So first gear, a little bit of acceleration, about 16, 17 revs maybe. And the bigger the hill, of course, the higher the revs you can get. But I wouldn't recommend going over 2000 or 1900 anyway. So there's decent revs. Now there's the first bite coming up now, there, and the second bite a little bit higher, there. Now let's see how the car reacts now when I let the handbrake down. So obviously checking before I go, handbrake is down, and then the car rolls forward steadily and smoothly like that when I get the second bite. So the second bite is clearly better, and it makes for a far better hill start than the first bite. When you're getting the first bite or the second bite, it's important that you don't do the bite, or that you don't get the bite too slowly. So if I go into first gear now and I get a little bit of acceleration, just like I was saying before, about 15 or 16, whatever. If I get the bite now really slowly, so if I lift the clutch up very slowly now, I'll get the bite, it's there, but it's not as obvious. It's kind of harder to identify. So I'll just release the bite now. I'll try and get the bite again now for a second time. So I'll get the juice up, and I'm going to bring the clutch up a little bit quicker now, so you might see the front of the car rising in a little bit more of an obvious way now. So here we go. There you go. There's the first bite, and a little bit higher then, second bite. So by getting the bite and by lifting your clutch a little bit quicker, now not quick the whole way because the car will only conk out, but by lifting the clutch a little bit quicker for most of the way, for the first half anyway, it's a little bit easier to identify and decipher the bite, and therefore it'll be easier to move off and ultimately do a hill start. So now I'm going to show you how to change gears and how to stop properly on the hill. At the moment I'm in first gear, so I must get a little bit of extra power on the hill, and then I change gears a little bit quicker off the clutch, and then giving it a little bit of juice to get us going. And when I'm stopping on the hill then, it's a case of putting the clutch in first, clutch first, and then just let the car roll to a stop, and just brake there at the very end just to stop the car rolling back. So you don't want to over brake on the hill because it'll stop too suddenly. When you're stopping on the hill, it's clutch first and then brake at the very end to avoid rollback. As with all new skills, it just takes patience and time. Stick at it. Practice makes perfect. And remember, all cars are different. It might be easier to find a bite in a certain type of car in comparison to another. It just depends on the car that you're driving at the time. Now, as promised, here's 3 tips that will help make your hill starts extra efficient. Firstly, make sure you're in first gear, because a lot of people try and take off on the hill and they don't realize they're actually in neutral or even third gear sometimes. So make sure you're in first gear and that you bring your clutch up enough to feel the bite. If you're not moving off on a hill, if the car is not moving off as it should be, it could be because you're not bringing your clutch up enough to find the bite. Secondly, make sure you give it some extra acceleration as you begin to move away. This will help eliminate any shakes or chugging on the car. And thirdly, as you're moving away on the hill, make sure to keep your clutch pedal extra still. This also helps ensure smoothness, helps avoid any jumps, and makes for a better overall hill start. So that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Up on the right hand side of the screen now you will see some videos that I made recently. Please subscribe for more videos just like this, and I will talk to you soon.